to have association. Not that this is not the solution of the problem, but I guess the solution will be the interact, to communicate each other. And actually it's not just association of museum to interact together or to communicate each other. Also we need to communicate with the governors, governates. We need to communicate with public service in the governor, some of societies, associations, with the Ministry of Education, Higher Education. We need to contact all of us in purpose of revive our heritage, revive our civilization, revive our ethics as ancient Egyptian, not
I can
as
feel
we
the
say
level
right now.
of passion and loyalty that you have. I want to, get out of your expertise a little bit insight on the situation of the museums in Egypt. If we look at Aswan, for example, Aswan, you have one of the magnificent, well-maintained museums over there.
Nubian Museum.
Yes, the Nubian Museum, which is fascinating.
It's really wonderful
to be
museum.
Looking like new for decades. It's not changed. At the same time, looking at other museums like the Islamic Museum, for example, but there's always a lot of criticism when it comes to the National Museum. The National Museum is not at the same level of those museums, and at the same time we have a lot of aspirations and dreams about turning this upside down.
Let's to be positives, okay?
Yes.
Okay. Actually, if we come to the museum, it's a material of study, okay? And first time to have a master degree of museum studies in Helwan University just last year. So we need to focus to teach a generation for museums.
Yes.
If we have a generation of museum studies in any faculty, whatever faculty of tourism, faculty of archaeology, and this kind of generation, they already educated well, so they start to think well about museums. So we have expertise to do marketing well, promotion well, scenario well. So it's a matter of national museum or local museum or regional museum or whatever. It's not a matter of international or national. It's a matter of.
It's a national motion.
Yeah. Okay. So it's to understand what the role of museum. For whom will be the museum? For our community, for regional community, for public community, as a tourist, for children, for adults, for
everyone.
Literacy, for everyone. Okay. And what's the topic of your museum? What's the storytelling of museum?
Exactly.
This we should work on. We should work on people first, and then get to product.
Yes. Okay.
Since you have,
yes.
sorry, but it seems you have, optimism about this change, this initiative. Turning this I like what you said, the storytelling.
Storytelling, yeah.
Once you enter, what are you going to be listening or seeing until you finish? Like exactly what's happening in the Nubian Museum.
Yeah.
It's like,
And all around the world. Yes.
Yeah. And also storytelling, not just how to display the artifact, how to put the story, how to tell the story, how to give the story, how to pass the message, your message from museum, how to see the community, because since 70s in Europe and America, they start to think in community, not to think by their mentality. I should start in Egypt to think by the mentality of Egyptian, by the desire of Egyptian, not by my way as expertise. I should ask the community come and ask them how far you want your museum to be.
Yes, but perhaps some criticism is directed again to the Egyptian Museum is that it is stuffed and loaded with artifacts, and the visitor just loses his way inside. You don't know where to go. You don't have enough information, and there are so many pieces that you don't know about. Do you think that having new museums, such as the one we are here today,
the Grand Egyptian Museum also.
The Grand Museum, of course, Sharif, do you think that having new museums with new ideas of, like you said, telling the story and perhaps better showcasing the artifacts, that would lessen the pressure on the Egyptian Museum and perhaps would give us a chance to renovate it
Better
and put
display.
it in a new way?
Yes, it is. It will. It will be. Especially now I am a member of Eddin Museum in Minya, and we are working in scenario with German side, okay? And now even the museum object, it going to be differentiated than last time. Now we say the golden mask of Tutankhamun is the masterpieces of the museum.
Yes.
One day probably human remains will be the masterpieces, because human remains probably has a special story to tell to the people. So human remains with some graphic, with some banners, with some stories, with some words, it will give a change, give some attraction to the community. Okay, so this we are working on. We are working to put a lot of shutters with some story, a lot of mold, and just one piece of coin and a lot of mold of coin. Okay, we can put some of structure has some words and have some stories, and we display it and give the story to the people. So the way of display, the way of thinking what we are going to be on display from museum objects, even different right now.
Yes. So in your opinion, what are the best kept secrets in Egypt in terms of museums that people doesn't know about and you really want to promote?
Yes, to tell the secrets.
Yes. What are the museums you believe are like unknown to people that needs to be promoted? For example, the Nubian Museum is one of the, maybe not everybody knows about Minya. Minya is one of the fascinating, rich artifacts.
For me, the Mummification Museum in Luxor,
Yes,
for example.
For example, so
For me, textile museum in historical Cairo. This is really it has
Textile.
It's not very crowded museum. It has not a lot of collection, but it has a lot of models that had a lot of stories to show how far ancient Egyptian and modern Egyptian was really fascinated people
clothes.
about textile. Okay,
Yes.
this is really something you can go and see it. You really love it. And
what did you see there?
Yeah. Please go on. And even I'm telling this to the Egyptian too. And I mean to my community to go. Suez Museum. I should promote for Suez Museum because I work a lot there. This is a fascinating museum too because it's talking about and my colleague and work there hard to make the scenario and so on. So it's talking about Suez Canal. And today we are even upgraded our scenario and storytelling in Museum of Suez Canal because we bought a coin of new Suez Canal, and we are going to display it and post some document concerning the new canal, and we are going to display it because it should be updated till today. Also, this fascinating about the steps of Suez Canal or the history and the background history of Suez Canal.
Head of the museum sectors at the Ministry of Antiquities, Elham, Salah Eddin, would like to thank you very much for joining us. It has been a pleasure having you with us.
Thank
you very much. Thank you very much.
Let's move now to a short break and returning back with more.